For my third example, I'll give you possibly the most basic or most common use case in application development. So this is just a post request, and this post request will insert data into a database, and it will also return a value saying that your user has been added to a database. So here there is one particular trigger, and then there are two outputs. The first output is to insert data into the database, and the second one is to just return a message saying that your particular user has been added to a database. Again, there is no input for this particular scenario, and the data will be sent as a post body request. So let's create this particular application. So for this particular example, we'll be using the person table that we had created in our previous example. So let's go back to a function app. So here we need to create a new function. So let's just click on create. Here again, the input would be an HTTP trigger. So I'll click on this, click on create. So here let's tweak the integration. So I'll go to the integration tab. And here what I need to do is I need to click on add output. So I already have one output as the HTTP response. Here what I need to do is I need to create another output. So this would be an Azure table storage. Now you can use a Cosmos database as well. So that's probably something that you can do as an assignment. So instead of using a table storage, you can use a Cosmos DB to do the same thing. So I'll click on Azure table storage. And here all that I need to do is I need to mention the table name. So the table name that I have created is person. I'll click on OK. Then let's go to our piece of code. But before that, let's see if there's anything that we need to do for the trigger. So I'll open the trigger. Yeah, so here what I'll do is I'll create a route, and this route will be just user. I will make this as anonymous. And here it's not a get request, but just a post request. So I'll just change this to post. And let me save this. Now let's go to our code. So I'll click on the HTTP trigger to here. So the code change that I need to make is I need to add this particular line of code. So what this does is it adds the following values to the output table. And the values are basically the name, the sex of the person. You need to also mention the partition key and the ID of that particular user. So these three values, that is the name, the sex, and the ID, I will send through the body. So that's the only change I need to do. So it's basically this particular line of code will insert the data into the table, and this will just send a message back to the particular user. So let me just change the response body and just say user has been added. So this is a very basic template. You can always add validations and other such fixes on top of this piece of code. So my only intention here is to just explain to you how the binding and how the input and the output and the trigger works. So all that we need to do is we need to just get the URL. So I'll copy this URL and I will call my postman to send a request. So before doing that, let's just see if there are any values in the table. So I'll go to the Storage Explorer, click on tables. So you can see that there's no data currently in the table. So let's just create a request. So here I've created a request and I've added a body to this particular request. And again, it's a post request. So let's just click on send. So it returns a 200. So let's go back to our database and let's just refresh this. And you can see that our data has been added. So this is how you can do inserting into a database. Now, of course, this can only be done in your storage account table or in your Cosmos DB. So just do that as an example. This particular task, you can, instead of using your storage account table, just use your Cosmos DB to do the same thing. So if you have any issues with that, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. So I'll see you in the next chapter.